Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Multiplayer, the podcast by gamers for gamers. I am your host, Zach Matscanis, alongside the lover boy himself, Javier Ortiz. Yo, 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 yo.
What's good, my man?
Yo, how them Philly Fusions?
I'm still undefeated. I love it. They beat the Chengdu Hunters the other day, and then they also beat... I think that might have been the only game they played this weekend. I don't remember. My days kind of get blurry now. But yeah, they beat the Chengdu Hunters, who were also undefeated until they played Philly. So, good times.
They're fueled by Philly cheesesteaks.
And pretzels.
You know, I got to say, this, I'll just get this out of the way, then we can get into the real show. When it comes to sports and esports, I feel the exact same way, where if there's a team representing like a city or like a state or something, I think it should be law, like sports law, that people have to come from that place. So it's like, if you're playing for the Chicago Bulls, you have to be from Chicago. Like, because, I always I see these people and like sports bars or whatever, and they're just like, yeah, go, like, San Francisco sucks, LA's better, like our, whatever team, foosball team's better. And it's just like, everybody on that team is probably not from, the place that you live and like
that's
are
true.
For. It's just
that's true. But like the owners of the team and the company that controls the team, they're from Philly. Like, it's the same people that are around the Philadelphia Flyers, the hockey team. Like they do the Fusion, the Overwatch team. That's why they're orange and black, like the same colors. They
also play in the same ice rink, and there's like computers like sliding across the ice and stuff.
It's tough. But it's tough to play there.
They stay nice and cool. But I don't know. I always feel like it's like, man, it needs to be like, our entire team is like born here. They were bred here. they've been fed on Philly cheesesteaks their whole life, and like we're the best. We're Philadelphia. But it's like you just bring in like people from like way better places.
Well, it's just you think there's a better talent elsewhere, but it's like I don't know, man. It's like every sport. Nobody's from the city they play for.
I know, but it should be. I think that would be like way more fun. Where it's like
not
you're
the Olympics.
Scrounging. I don't know. I feel like you're just scrounging like the best people like within your city together, like a ragtag group. Like, all right, well, it's like this is the best we got. We got to train these dudes hard. I think they would make sports and esports like so much more interesting.
That'd make a funny sports movie.
Yeah, it's like, new law is in effect.
There's a law.
If we want people to play for the Chicago Bulls, they have to be from Chicago. Everybody's fired from the team that's from everywhere else.
Like even the coaches and the owner and like all those. Yep. Oh, wow.
They all have to be from Chicago.
That would suck if you're born like just outside of Chicago.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, I'm like 10 minutes away. Like I can walk. It's
sorry.
Like, sorry.
Put up the wall.
Sorry, dude. I'd watch that.
I wouldn't.
I would finally watch that like a sport. I would. I don't know. Anyways, remember everybody that Multiplayer is all over the place in your ears and in your face. You can check us out at youtube.com/multiplayer. You can also check us out on podcast services everywhere. So pick a podcast service. Go to just whatever whatever's
Spotify,
on your phone.
Pandora, because they do podcasts apparently.
Apparently, I mean, I do use Spotify to listen to podcasts that I'm going to sleep to. So I use like the Apple Podcast for like my regular podcasting. But then, a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I'm tired, but my brain's racing. So I'll turn on Spotify podcasts because I don't want it to like go through a bunch of episodes of something I'm trying to listen to, and then I would have to backtrack and figure out like where I was. I could just go back to like Apple Podcasts where it's all queued up. With stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. Why don't you just put on like ocean sounds, and then that'll put you to sleep.
Care. I mean, I don't care about the ocean. Like, screw that place. No, I mean, there's like a couple podcasts that are like the people have nice soothing voices, unlike me.
Yeah.
And don't listen to this while you go to sleep. You just like, oh, what's going on? You wake up with a headache. It would be
gotta listen
awful,
to
but...
Zach's Sleepy Podcast. Hey there, Zach. This is your buddy the pillow. We're gonna put you to sleep now, buddy. Time to go to bed.
That would be pretty funny. I'd listen to that.
It's for you.
Oh man. Hav, we have... Oh, I have a couple other things I'll say before we get into it. You threw me off with pillow talk for Zach. Remember that our episodes go up every Wednesday, so look out for those new episodes every week. Which is this, us talking right now.
Yeah,
it's a good time. Don't go to sleep to it, but definitely check it out.
Well, you can if you want.
Oh yeah, live your life. If you like, ridiculous men just screaming in your ears as you go to sleep.
Here,
I'll
let you. I'll do this for you. It's like, hey there, you're listening to Multiplayed, and if you're listening to this while going to sleep, that's totally fine. You do you, baby. Good night, babies.
Good night, babies.
Call everybody baby.
Welcome to Multiplayer Baby Hour, where you're a baby and everyone else is a baby. Oh, this show's ridiculous, but let's get into it. So, Hav, I think we have an interesting show today. I think this is one of those episodes that's a little looser than our typical show, but I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one. A lot of TV and movie talk, which is weird because, this is a video game podcast. But, as we know, like video games is essentially part of the entertainment industry, if you really think about it.
It is.
It is entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just like a different medium of entertainment. But a lot of times those worlds collide, TV and movies and, video games.
Sure.
We have like the HBO Last of Us series coming, Mortal Kombat just popped.
Yep.
And I mean, there's a lot of crossover. Obviously, Sony has a division that makes movies and TV shows and stuff.
Very true.
Sony Pictures. So yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of crossover. And so this is definitely like everything kind of happened in like a week's time where it's just like, oh man, a lot of interesting kind of TV and movie news, but within the video game. So, I want to talk about a little bit of PlayStation Plus, and surprisingly, that has to do with movies and video and TV. And then I want to talk a little bit about Netflix and their relationship with Resident Evil and what's going on there. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Oscars, which is strange because I'm not a
Oscar talk.
I know Oscar talk on a video game podcast. Very weird, but we'll get into it. And then of course I want to talk a little bit about Mortal Kombat. That just popped. We watched it. We have thoughts, and then I want to pitch you on an idea for a video game movie. But it's a lot different than what you might think or expect. It's not like a typical make Assassin's Creed 2 the movie.
That's all you need to say. I approve it instantly.
Yeah. And then if we have the time, a little you Nintendo don't know Jack. So Hav, let's get into it, shall we? Okay. So I'd like to start with this news about PlayStation Plus. So an interesting thing leaked, and then Sony confirmed it. Basically, in Poland, they're testing a service called PlayStation Plus Video Pass, where essentially for no extra cost, they're just going to be throwing free things at you like Oprah. It's just like you get a TV show and you get a TV show. So basically, every month, along with your PlayStation Plus subscription for PS4 and PS5, you're just going to get some free TV shows and movies that are created by Sony Studios. Like I said, Sony has a production, division. They make movies, they make TV shows. And so they're like, well, let's make that part of PlayStation Plus. And so it's just in Poland right now. They're just testing it. But basically for the next year, it sounds like, they're going to just kind of have this PlayStation Plus Video Pass. And it sounds like every 3 months, they'll update the PlayStation Plus Video Pass with new, TV shows and movies, things like Venom probably, and, stuff like that.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it Sony exclusive stuff? Or is it just Netflixy where they just kind of have a bunch of different kind of things?
I would say as of right now, it really seems like it's Sony Studios, stuff. I would say if this is successful, it could be something down the line they could pull in other, movies and TV shows and stuff, it makes sense. If you think about, I don't know, I could easily see them putting something like Mortal Kombat, the movie, onto like PlayStation Plus Video Pass. Obviously, that's like a Warner Brothers thing.
Yeah,
and it's like they would have to work out a deal with them, but it's something that it would make sense. So basically, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts about this testing of this like new service, this PlayStation Plus Video Pass service in Poland. And, is this something like you'd be interested in if it came stateside? And remember, like as of right now, there's no extra cost.
Yeah.
I feel like if it got super successful, it'd be like for $5 extra a month, and then everybody would dip out. But
yeah, but, if it was free, then hey, what's something you can give me something new this month along with my game, or if it's every couple months. The only thing I would question is like, what exactly would you show me? Because I don't know Sony's like volume of TV and movie stuff. Like I know they have Spider-Man, and I think they have
that's a big one.
Yeah, they have Spider-Man, and I think they have James Bond. I think James Bond is a Sony property. I'm not 100% sure.
I think that's MGM.
Yeah, but MGM doesn't exist anymore.
Do they not?
No, dog.
I should probably know this stuff.
It's like they haven't been around for a while, I'm pretty sure. But I think James Bond is a Sony property. I could be wrong, but it's this is the stream. We're in the middle of the streaming wars. It's everyone's getting their own service, so it doesn't surprise me that Sony might want to dip into that, because like you said, they have a huge movie television division. And I would assume if they're licensing out their games, the IPs for shows like The Last of Us, then maybe that would be like automatically on this PlayStation TV Plus bundle Home Alone thing that you're going to be getting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It really depends. I don't. It depends on what catalog they're offering and where it's going. And I'm not against the new streaming service because it gives more people the opportunity to make really unique and weird shows. That's one thing. A lot of people kind of complain about the streaming wars. That's one thing I like about it, is that because there are so many avenues and people and studios are like hungry for content. It makes weirder shows get approved, right? And like more stuff that you wouldn't typically see gets approved, which is awesome. So I don't know. I'm down for it. Like, why not? Like, let's see what you have to offer. And if it's a lot, then that's great. If it's more niche, then if it's free, that's good.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, if they haven't already, they have announced that at the very least they're taking it down. I think it's already down, but they basically have removed like movie and TV rentals off of the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, completely.
So it's like, it's kind of strange where it's like they're offering this new service, but they just took down like rentals for other movies and TV. It seems like it almost feels like two different divisions of Sony are doing like different things that aren't crossing paths. It's kind of strange.
And I wonder if one is cheaper than the other. Like I don't know how this works, but does it cost a lot of money to have a huge library of movies and TV shows that you can rent or sell on your platform? Or is it cheaper to have your own little streaming service and then put your own stuff up there? I'm not sure how that works, but
yeah, it's a good question. At the very least, it would take servers that just kind of like handle, kind of keeping those movies up for rent. But you already have all that anyways. It's already set up for their games and stuff on the PlayStation Store. So
yeah,
I don't know. It just kind of seems strange, but I would say as far as the strategy goes, it's an interesting move to compete with Microsoft, because obviously Microsoft doesn't have a production side of their company making movies and TV shows and stuff. So this is something that Sony could easily offer that Microsoft can't. So at the very least, it's like an interesting strategy.
Yeah, and I just saw so they also own Funimation. So that's interesting because then they would have they could corner
I'm on board.
the anime market, right? So that's huge, and it's already a Japanese company, so it makes sense that they own Funimation. So, I mean, if you're telling me that on my PlayStation you're going to give me like all of the Dragon Balls and Dragon Ball Z collection, I'll take it. Like, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Absolutely.
I honestly didn't care about this until you said Funimation. Now I'm on board.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could be totally wrong on this, but I feel like Sony owns like a part of Crunchyroll. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, at the very least, yeah. If they could just throw some Funimation stuff on there, I'm down. That'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm on board now. You got me convinced.
Oh yeah, you're right. Crunchyroll parent organization is Sony Corporation.
Oh, there you go.
So it makes sense.
I don't know why I know that.
I mean,
I must have just read it one day.
Connected to Sony. I don't know.
Yeah. I know I can't remember people's names, but for some reason I can remember who the parent company of Crunchyroll is. What's wrong with my brain?
We'll take that. Yeah, I think they own. I'm doing a quick search for James Bond to see if he's owned.
I don't think they do, but they do own. Well, at the very least, they produce Ghostbusters, the Angry Birds movie.
There you go. That's something.
Here's one for you, Little Women.
Little Women. Oh wait, I think I've heard that. I've heard that was a really good movie.
Well, there you go. You get to watch it on.
Nice.
Just go to Poland. You can watch it for free.
Might have to.
But obviously, things like the Uncharted movie, I would assume would come to this. I would assume, maybe you get the first few episodes of like the HBO Last of Us series or something. The Twisted Metal show, whatever's going on with that nonsense.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like, you could see how at the very least it would stack up with like interesting video game related movies and stuff. Apparently they produce the Final Fantasy movies that come out. So I don't know. It's something. It's like,
I guess that's enough for like a tiny thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just free with PlayStation Plus, I mean, it's just adding value. So it's like, I guess there's nothing wrong with that.
And if they greenlight it, maybe that gives us a chance to pitch a show to them. Because every week we come up with some good ideas, and I feel like if anyone's going to approve our ideas, it would be a Sony streaming platform on the PlayStation. So,
well, we'll see. I have an idea. I'm going to pitch for a show later, and maybe they'll fund it. But I want to move on. But before we do, you remember when PlayStation was making? It was basically like PlayStation produced shows and movies. Do you remember this? Like they produced the show Powers. Do you remember that?
I never watched it, but my friend back home in Philly did, and he told me about it. He said he really liked it, but I never watched it.
It was fine.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. That's totally fine.
It was, it's just something where like it was on the PlayStation Store, and since I had a PlayStation Plus subscription, I could just download it for free and watch. At least I remember. I don't think I ever. I would not have paid for that show, but I think I think it just kind of came free with my PlayStation Plus subscription. So
there you go.
I guess this is like them trying basically trying that again, but like going about it a different direction. So I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Like I said, it gives us a chance to maybe pitch to them. Maybe we can get a show.
That'd be nice. The multiplayer pillow talk show. Hey, baby.
Hey, babies. Welcome to the Pillow Talk with Zach and Huff.
It's your lover boy speaking. So speaking of streaming services, something that this is like kind of older news. It popped at the same time as like the Resident Evil, all the Resident Evil news that sort of came out like a little more than a week ago. It was like a week and a half ago. But we didn't really talk about it, and I figured this would be a good episode to do it. So Resident Evil has a few Netflix things coming down the pipeline. There's like a live action thing that I don't care about. And I don't even want to give it the time of day to discuss because it already I just
it might be good.
Video game movies. I don't know, man. It's video game movies and shows, and it's almost like nails on a chalkboard to me most of the time. It's like most of it is god awful, and it's just I don't know if that's going down the right path. But a lot of times, and I'm sure you know this from like Like this almost feels like DC, where it's like their live action stuff's like booty, but then their CG, or I mean, excuse me, their animated movies are like absolutely incredible. Or things like Young Justice is like,
that's a good show,
out of this world good. I mean, just give me like 30 seasons of that show.
Yeah. But then they also do Batman Ninja.
Oh no! What a weird,
balls to the wall, crazy.
Oh my God. That was wild.
Yeah.
But you know, I would watch Batman Ninja 10 times in a row before watching the Snyder Cut for 5 more minutes.
Oh, like I like the Snyder Cut.
I mean, we could talk about that stuff forever, but I mean, Superman's like such a wet blanket in those movies. It's just god awful. I mean, all those characters are all like wet blankets, except for the Flash. He's great. Barry Allen. He crushed it. But I don't know what is banging in my apartment. But whatever.
Okay.
So let's so there's a new Resident Evil. I thought it was another animated movie because there has been several animated Resident Evil movies, but I think this is actually a Resident Evil show, like series. And if there's a release date, actually, I think it's July, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, I watched the trailer and it doesn't look half bad. And
I was just upset that Matt Mercer, that wasn't Matt Mercer voicing Leon. At least I don't think it was. It didn't sound like him. That bugged me. Maybe he's just he's a busy man. I don't know. What's he doing these days? I mean, I feel he's always busy, man. He's always recording something or hosting his D&D show. That man stays busy. But
yeah, that's voice actors for you.
Oh yeah,
constantly working.
But I don't think that was him voicing Leon. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, but it just didn't sound like him. But either way, I'm in, because if it's about Leon, I'm all in, because that's my man.
Yeah. So, you know, for the people out there that didn't watch it, go watch it. But the trailer basically shows Leon and Claire at the White House hanging out, doing their thing. Apparently this takes place like 2 years after the events of RE4. And, you know, I guess Leon's still like working for the White House and the president. Which, you know, I always thought I love RE4, but the
it's the silliest.
The plot is bonkers.
Oh yeah,
like
the silliest premise.
You know, the president of America, the United States of America, their daughter's kidnapped by like some zombie monks or something. Like,
yeah,
how did that happen? Like,
don't worry about it. All you need to know is that Leon needs to save her by himself.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. It's like that's what happened. Like, you would think if like literally if the daughter of the president of the United States was kidnapped and they knew even a rough location of where she was, you would be sending in
the military. Would just be all over this country.
Oh my God! Like it would be bananas. Like that they would have wiped that place off the planet.
Yep, pretty much. With or without her.
Yeah, it's like, Leon, you're going it alone.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny, but yeah, I guess in this new show, for some reason, zombies have attacked the White House, and it's up to Leon and Claire to stop it. And it's like, I love it. Like, you know, Resident Evil has always been like so bonkers and silly and stupid. And the plot, it makes literally no sense most of the time, and the dialogue is super cheesy.
Yeah. And
you know, it's funny. Like, typically I don't like that kind of stuff, but for some reason, with Resident Evil, it just strikes the right tone of nonsense that I'm like, you know, I'm in. I love it. These characters are great. I love, you know, how like grizzled, you know, Leon gets from like Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
You know, he went from like this rookie cop to like suplexing zombies in the street. Like,
it's the best.
You know, it's nonsense. Love it. Yeah. So are you in for this show?
Oh, of course. Down? Like I said, when you got Leon, and I think it's Leon, and I think Claire was in it too, right? It was. Yeah.
Claire's in it.
Yeah. So if it's with Leon and Claire, just give me all of it. Give me all of it and more, because I'm all about those two. I mean, Resident 2 and 4 are my favorites, so it's just like, just give me more of that. I'd like, and it, you know, are you saying zombies are attacking the White House and the president's in danger? I'm in. Let's. This is silly already, and I love it. I just hope. I mean, we're not going to see it, But man, if they showed Leon suplexing a one of the zombies, I would be so happy if they did that.
I don't know. I mean, you might get it. You know? Yeah.
No, they're not going to do that.
I don't know, man. It's, some of those like RE movies, those the cinematic, or excuse me, the CG ones are just they're bonkers. They're nonsense.
I'll take it. I mean, if they have the balls to do that, I would be very happy and very surprised. But I'll take it. Like, plus, I mean, Netflix. When it comes to Netflix animated shows, like, I mean, I'm only thinking about Castlevania, but that's really good. So give me more animated shows based off of really cool video games. I'll take them.
Yeah, same here. And definitely like animated, animated shows, specifically, that's what I want out of most video game franchises. Don't give me like, I don't need to see like, I don't know, Kurt Russell in a live action,
come on, dude.
Metal Gear movie. Like, I don't want any of that. Like,
Snake.
It's true. But like, I don't want that. Like, just, but if an animated like Metal Gear Solid TV show came, I would be 100% on board.
That's fair.
100%.
That's fair. I mean, in animated stuff, you can get away with things that you can't get away in live action, right? And that's why we love it so much when we think about video games like turning into movies or TV shows. Because it's like, man, when it's animated, it's as if I'm playing the game. I just don't have the controller, right? Because they can do all the wackiness and all the craziness of the game that you couldn't necessarily do in a live action format. So
yeah. So I don't have a good segue here, but I'm just gonna roll with it. So I want to kind of jump away from the CG side of things and kind of go to the live action side of things. And the next thing I want to kind of mention here is the Oscars, which once again,
Oscar talk. What
Oscar talk on a video game podcast. And I'm also somebody like I don't care about like award shows and stuff. It's just people, patting themselves on the back. It's like, I don't need
Look at all these rich people congregating together, celebrating their rich activities. Must be nice.
It's always pretty silly. Especially because it's like, things like video games and movies and stuff are such a collaborative process that when you're like best actor, it's like, I mean, there's like 100 people that are surrounding that actor to make sure, like, their entire job is to make that actor look good.
Yep.
And so it's like, like they could give a good performance, but it's also like the makeup artist, the costume designer, it's the editor, it's the director, it's the writer.
It's a team effort here.
And it's so other than like best movie or something, stop it. Stop giving out awards for things. But anyway, that's another. We don't need to go down that path. That'll be at the other show. That'll be the Pillow Talk show. We'll talk about that. But so at the Oscars, there was a video game by the name of Medal of Honor, which is strange because it's like there hasn't been a good Medal of Honor game in like
it's been a while.
15 years at this point.
Yep.
It's been a long, long time. But yeah, Medal of Honor Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which was a Oculus VR game, won an Oscar.
Nuts, right? Like it makes like, no.
What?
When you say that in a sentence, it makes no sense because you're just like, wait, a VR game, a Medal of Honor VR game won like what?
Yeah. So, and not even a good Medal of Honor game. Like this got like, it
was like subpar.
Mediocre, it was like mediocre to okay reviews. But yeah, they won an Oscar, and so basically, just to kind of give you the full story here. So one of the things they focused on with this Medal of Honor game was trying to tell the stories of like real soldiers in the war, and one of the things they did along with the game is they made a short film documentary that just kind of came with the game, and this was just a live action, not in VR or anything, just like a regular 2D format, documentary, short form documentary about a woman who was part of the French Resistance during World War II. She's 90 years old now, and basically, and her name's Colette, by the way, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think I am.
Yeah, Colette.
Yeah, Colette. She's not Italian.
That's not Italian.
So it's basically the story about Colette, this 90-year-old woman who, during World War II, she was part of the French Revolution, and so was her, French resistance.
The resistance, yeah.
And so was her brother, her older brother, and he got caught and sent to a concentration camp and died there. And so for the first time at 90 years old, she goes to this concentration camp that her brother died in. And you basically just follow her journey, her in this basically like a researcher of
this girl Lucy. Yeah, she works at like a museum, I think, and she's just gathering more research to like improve the museum. I think she worked at a museum or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically she's just doing it's for research and getting more knowledge about World War II and the camps and the soldiers and the victims and all that. And she connected with this Colette woman. It's actually a really beautiful movie, like her short film. Like it's really beautiful and very like heart-wrenching. It's very sad.
Yeah, it really starts to like kind of pull on the heartstrings towards the end. It's these two women, they go to this concentration camp, and obviously they get very emotional because that's a tough thing, especially for Colette. And shot very well.
Very cinematic. It looked really well. Like it was made really well. Like I don't know how it worked with the devs, or because it's Respawn that made the game, so I don't know who's in charge of like putting a team together for these short films, because there's more. Like it's like the game has a gallery mode with a bunch of like short little movies, and they're all about World War II and stuff. And so whoever got the teams together, and especially this one in particular, whoever did that and spearheaded that, like kudos. It was really well done.
Yeah, I mean they did a fantastic job, and I think they totally deserve to win for best documentary short subject. That's the actual. Oh no, that's for the Academy Award. Let me see where.
I think it was just short documentary film.
Yeah, let's see here. I don't see the actual. I mean, I think you're right. I think it's like documentary short film. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's the name, or documentary short film. Either way, it's like it's a short film, but in the documentary style format, basically.
100%. And yes, and you can very easily find this this short film if you want to just watch it outside of this game. It's very easy to find. I literally just typed it into Google and it just popped up for me.
Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Totally for free.
I think you can go over to The Guardian as well, and they have it like linked in an article that you can watch it on. But yeah, it's very easy to find on YouTube. Just Colette, Colettee. It's fantastic. It's like 30 minutes. I highly recommend watching it. And basically what I was sort of bringing this up is now that like a video game has been sort of represented within the Oscars and have like won a category, won an award at the Oscars. Like, do you feel like this changes anything? Do you feel like other maybe companies like video game companies, developers will look at this and be like, oh, maybe we should be producing more live content that or like maybe we should figure out a way to create some stuff that that gets recognition at award shows, but also it's like I guess shines more light on like powerful messages. I maybe is a good way to put it.
Sure. I mean, not every if a dev team wanted to do this kind of stuff, and this kind of goes, and I've kind of talked about this before, but like something I really missed about older games was when they included little movies about like the making of the game or the team, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Like, this isn't technically that, but this is part of that, those like special features, right? Like, and games used to do that a lot, and usually were focused on how to make the game, but this is totally valid as well, because it's subject matter that has to do with why this game was made, right? Medal of Honor, it was made because of, World War II, and a lot of World War II games have been created, and so this one, they made the game, but then they also wanted to include stuff that could teach people about World War II, and, stuff people might not know about, and it could be very personal. Not every, I guess, short documentary needs to be this like heavy, and
sure.
It fits the subject matter, obviously, because it's a World War II game, so obviously you're going to get World War II shorts and videos, but like, I would totally be down if, like, God of War, for instance, the PS4 one, they made a documentary on how that game was made, and that was released on YouTube, and that was really good. It was like, I think it was
great.
Yeah, it's a great documentary, and like it shows you like how tough it is to be a game developer, especially with a game of that size and that magnitude. And like, it shows kind of Cory Barlog's kind of journey of directing the game, and like all the work that goes into it. And it's nuts. Like it's really intense, but it's really good. And so like, that kind of stuff, I'm all for more of that. If it relates to the subject matter of the game, even if they had done one, if they had done a God of War little short about like the history of Norse mythology, it's just like a quick 10-15 minute video about like, this is what inspired.
Cool.
Yeah, like any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm down for all of that, because I think, especially when it comes to video games, sometimes people don't really think about like why this game was made, or what inspired it, or who's the reason why this game got made. It's a lot of game has really strong cultural references and educational references that people don't know about. So like, and I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like, what if Guacamelee did like a 10 to 15 minute like little history about the luchador culture in Mexico and Central America? I think that'd be super cool. Like, learn.
Could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm all for that. Like if Ghost of Tsushima did something about the samurai and the ninja, that's super interesting. And it's just like, this is why this game was made. This is how it relates to this. And like, it's super interesting because, I think history is one of the most interesting subjects, like, that you would learn in high school and stuff. And, it's so vast and it covers so much. And you realize how much history goes into video game development, like what kind of games we're making. It's like, I'm all for more of this. It can all be educational. It doesn't necessarily need to be as grim or as dour, and that shouldn't take it away anything from the film, because it's still really good. But like, you could totally do that, or you could totally do something a little more uplifting, a little more happier. That's totally fine. I'm cool with either one, and I want more of that. Like, I really do, because like I said, like, I miss special features in games where they show you just a behind the scenes kind of look, or like stuff that you couldn't normally see. So I want more of that,
Yeah, I recall one for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice as well.
Yeah.
Kind of the making of that, and talking to different I think psychologists, psychiatrists. Basically people that study like mental health and mental disorders. So there's like parts of it that are kind of talking about those things, and then also like following the sort of the story of the person that played Senua, who was actually just a developer on the team.
I think she was like an editor, and
then,
or
like a programmer or something.
Yeah,
and she ended up playing the character. She's not even an actress, and crushed it.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job, and I think they also, like, if I remember that correctly, because I remember watching it too, I think they also spoke with like a panel of people with mental health disorders, just to get like a first like hand experience of like what they see or how they feel about things, just so they can portray correctly in the game. And they for my money, they did. That game's fantastic, and like the way you hear things in that game is amazing.
Yeah, and so basically what I want to kind of say about this topic is this will be my little soapbox for the day. We'll get to the pillow box later, but the soapbox. So for my soapbox, like, one thing, I didn't get to play this Medal of Honor game just because it's a VR game, and I'm not really in that VR world. But it would be nice to see this kind of stuff for other war games, other games like, I think Battlefield 1, they did okay with the subject matter. Trying to like tell the stories like, war is hell. Like, here's some like messed up stories. They're all made up, but like, here's some interesting stories about World War One. I wish there were developers that would really have the cojones to sort of like take that a step further and be like, this isn't like a pretty thing, and it's for a mature like war game, the mature audience can handle it. I mean, if you look at a game like The Last of Us, they don't pull any punches in those games. It's like, this world is like brutal. Not good. It's not a good world to be in. Things aren't happy. It's like you're gonna see messed up things, and it's like shocking at points, and it's brutal at points, and it's like I wish that there were war games out there that sort of like took this a step further, and it's just like, hey, here is like some actual stories, about people that were in World War One, World War Two, or like whatever the war is,
sure.
Vietnam War or whatever. And it's like here's an actual person. You're gonna like play as them in this game, and also like here's a small documentary about their life, and you like play through like some of the events that they had to go through, or something. I'm just kind of spitballing, but I wish some people sort of took that kind of stuff a little more seriously, because I really do like war games, but sometimes I do feel like they're taking advantage of a messed up situation. They're basically profiting and sort of what's the word I want to use here? Like
exploiting
and sort of like oversimplifying war. Like it's almost like just they're gamifying it. It's like they're making it silly.
Sure.
Where it's just like you're just running around as like some dude with a gun just killing thousands of people. It's just right. There's like you have zero like PTSD from the situation. Like you're just absorbing bullets. You're basically a god on the battlefield. Like
right.
A lot of it's like a lot of pretty silly and gamified. And I wish some people would take a crack at, and there are a few war games out there like that are more on the sort of indie side of things, but I'm looking more at like the Call of Duties and the Battlefields and stuff, where it's like I wish these bigger devs and maybe maybe EA will do something like this, because obviously Respawn is an EA developer.
Yeah.
They're under the EA umbrella. Maybe EA will look at this like, maybe we should lean into this a little harder. So I don't know. We'll see. But I just wanted to kind of like talk about that a little bit, and I wish I wish video games. I want the silly stuff out there still. I love the silly stuff, but like there's people grow up with games. We're adults now.
Right.
We're mature. Give me some mature stuff. I can handle it. And if I can't handle it, honestly, that's okay too. It's like,
yeah,
like I think it's good to see, the messed up side of things, like mental health and games like Senua's Sacrifice, or even Celeste, that kind of goes into
yeah, that's true
mental
too.
health, or things like The Last of Us. It's like, hey, this is not a happy place to be. And yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of my take on it. Once again, I don't have a good segue, but I do want to move on, and this gets way more silly now, I promise. Because we're going to move on to Mortal Kombat.
Oh, man. I don't care what you say. I loved it.
Okay, so let's get into this nonsense, because I got some thoughts. But yes.
Disclaimer. Zach doesn't like movies. You don't like movies.
I don't like movies.
Yeah.
But I will say, this is that's with the asterisk. I like good movies.
Yeah, okay.
I like good movies.
That's like it's very well. Yeah, like what's a good movie? It's just like one out of every like 50 is a good movie.
Yeah, but I got high standards.
I guess.
So Mortal Kombat the movie just came out. I'm assuming we both watched it on HBO.
Yeah.
on that
I want to see it in theaters. I just waiting for that second shot. And then I'm gonna go on like a Tuesday afternoon when no one's at the movie theater, so I can watch it by myself.
So give me your take. What did you think of this Mortal Kombat movie?
I had a great time watching it. I had a fantastic time. I don't care what anybody says. All right. Was it the greatest story ever told? No. But you know what? When I first played Mortal Kombat, guess what I wasn't questioning? The story. I was just in it for fighting, and they delivered on fighting because right as it starts, it's like action packed, and it's like I don't think you go more than like 7 minutes without a fight sequence.
That's a filthy lie, sir.
All right, maybe a little bit longer, but there's plenty of action sequences, and there's lots of fighting, and I really liked it. I thought Kung Lao was super cool with his hat, and he looked just like the game character, which is nice. That's the other thing. It looked like the game, like characters like from the game, like it looked just like them. Like Jax looked just like Jax. Like
Jax looks like Jax.
He looked like Jax, which I loved, and like they had this new guy, Cole Young. He was fine, but like I loved watching Liu Kang with fire, Kung Lao with his hat. Even Sonya Blade gets into the action. Kano was really funny. And he was just like, man, that
Kano was good.
I was like,
the best part.
That is Kano, yeah, for sure. This is for sure Kano. Raiden was kind of a douche, but like he kind of is a douche in the games as well. It's just like he's just using people.
He's like a god.
Yeah, I wanted to see. That's the only thing I was disappointed. I want to see more from him, but like they set it up really well for a sequel. And man, I also really loved the way Scorpion and Sub-Zero looked. Like just the way they looked, I was like, man, they look so good. Like,
yeah, their looks were good.
They looked excellent, and I loved that Sub-Zero was the bad guy because I feel like, and maybe this is just me personally, but growing up, Sub-Zero was always one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
and with my friends and stuff, a lot of people always thought he was a good guy, and I think that was also because they made a Mortal Kombat cartoon where he was a good guy. And then his character eventually became a good guy, but the OG original Sub-Zero is not a good person. Like
I don't think any of them are.
Well,
they're like ripping each other's hearts.
Well, yeah, but like he's the bad guy, right? Like he is the bad guy in the original like Mortal Kombat. But then I think it's like his son becomes. I forget who it is, but there's a good Sub-Zero at some point. I forget how he's connected to the original, but the original Sub-Zero is the bad guy, and I love that they made him the bad guy in this. I just loved watching Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight. It was so cool. It just looked really cool. And the only thing I didn't like was I didn't hear anybody yell toasty. I really wanted to, but I figured that.
Or whoopsies.
Yeah. But I had such a good time watching it. I love the fights, man. They look so cool. Even Reptile was in it. Reptile. Like nobody was expecting Reptile, but there he was, and he was fighting Kano and Sonya. It was awesome. Like I went into it and I wasn't going to put my nose up to it in any way. I was just going to be like, this is a pretty low budget movie. And when you watch it, it's a very small movie. It doesn't go to a lot of places.
There's like 5 sets.
Yeah.
That they just keep going back to.
Yeah. It's like,
so
honestly,
stupid.
It's a small movie. Like I didn't want to call it an indie movie because it's certainly not an indie movie, but it's a small movie. Like you're right. There's like 5 sets and there's only a handful of actors, but man, I loved it. And like the main guy, Cole Young, like the actor Louis Tan, I'm a fan of his because I also like this show called Wu Assassins on Netflix that he was in. I really enjoyed that. So I was kind of hyped for him being like a main character in a movie. And it's just really cool seeing like dope martial artists on screen. Like I love martial arts cinema. So like watching some cool martial arts on screen with a bunch of like actors who, this is their big chance. And like, man, everyone seemed to have a good time. Like following some people online, like on Instagram and social media and stuff, they all had a good time. They were all super excited about it. So I'm like, I'm all for that. It's just like, yeah, it was super fun. Like that's all it was for me. It was just really fun. Like I loved it. And they set it up for a sequel with Johnny Cage. And I can't wait for that.
Man, I will say that I appreciate that they hired actual martial artists versus actors because like, man, do I hate actors trying to fight. It is as somebody that is, has several years of fight choreography training, it is awful
We don't need you to have your speech about Anne Hathaway.
Oh my god, I could talk crap about Anne Hathaway all day and her stupid split kick she does in every movie she's ever been in. She needs to get karate chopped.
She's a very nice lady, though. I've met her in real life. She's very nice.
I will karate chop her. I mean, man, other than that, like that, I really like the first like 10 minutes, and then it's just like it's. I feel like for like an entire hour there was just exposition. It was just people just like. And they gave it all to Sonya Blade, and like, this poor lady, she couldn't act herself out of like a paper bag, and it's just like, but they gave her all the lines to explain the plot, and it's just like, I don't need this, like, I don't need a plot. It's Mortal Kombat.
Just fight.
There's not even a just fight. There's not even a plot in the damn games. It's like, it's so silly, It's one of those things where it's I was thinking about this and like how they could make this better. And it's just like, just treat your audience with a little bit of respect. And I think that would go a long way, where it's just like, if you're going to watch Mortal Kombat, the movie, you're either a Mortal Kombat fan and you can't wait to see all the fighting, or you're just some guy that's like, oh, what is this? And it's just like,
or like, I've heard of that before.
Yeah. And it's just like, and that's going to be as far as that person goes. You're not going to have somebody be like, wow, I liked that movie, I'm going to go play the game now. It's just, it's not like a 1-to-1. Like, it's probably just not going to happen. It's like, just have it be literally 2 hours of people kicking each other's heads off and stuff. Like, you don't need a plot. Like, just, and this is why I think shows like WandaVision were fantastic. Because they treated the audience with respect. Where it's just like, look, if you haven't seen the other movies and like know these characters, that's on you. Get good. Go watch that stuff and then come back and watch this. And it's like, even if you haven't watched that stuff, you can figure out what's going on and appreciate what's there and have a great time. It's like, I had seen all the Marvel movies and I came in like, oh yeah, this is great for its own reasons. My girlfriend Jerry watched it and had never seen a single Marvel movie, but loved it for her own reasons. And you could do that with like a Mortal Kombat movie. It's like, just throw everybody in, where it's just like, these like 10 beefcakes are about to like, kick the hell out of each other for the next 2 hours. You in?
Yeah,
like,
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's do
this. Let me see a man's rib cage get ripped out of their chest. Like, I'm down. Like, there's no setup needed.
That Kung Lao fatality was pretty awesome. Where the hat was spinning on the ground, and he just...
that was pretty sweet.
That was awesome.
That was pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, it's just... so there's some good things about it, but there's a solid hour in the middle of that movie where it's just like, you guys have to stop talking. Like,
well, I mean, they talk, but like, there's still fighting happening. Like, they break it up for fighting, I still, like, I again, all that stuff, it's just like, whatever. I just enjoyed I just had fun watching it, man. And I will say, after watching that, I revisited the 1994 Street Fighter movie.
Oh my god.
And I will gladly say that Mortal Kombat is much better than that.
I bet.
You got
Jesus.
Jean-Claude Van Damme playing Guile. It's supposed to be American. He's like, I'm going to kick Bison's ass. Just like, you're not American.
So stupid.
But man, I still it was awesome. Like, and like watching Sub-Zero make a sword out of ice. I'm like, he does that in the game. And then making an ice block version of himself and then jumping back. It's like, he does that in the game. So like a lot of their moves, like they were pretty loyal to that, which I really liked.
And all that was good. But it's like, just take out the plot, take out that dumb Cole Young guy. I mean, the actor, he was doing just fine. He was doing his thing, but like the character is just like silly and dumb, and I just don't like. I didn't even want him in that last fight. It's like, let me just see Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight for like 30 straight minutes.
Yeah,
like, I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
I also thought his armor thing, looked really weird because it's like you could tell that's just like a shirt. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah,
and it's just.
I thought that was a weird choice. It was like, but whatever. The fighting was cool, man. I just like the fighting.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the first 10 minutes. Way
true.
downhill from there. But anyways, so I wanted to go into kind of my last thing I wanted to go into today before we dip out is like movie and TV show adaptations of video games. And we've talked about this a decent amount before in the past. If you have a super quick one, you could throw it out as something you thought of. But if not, I'll just kind of go into my thing because we are running low on time.
Sure.
But I want to give you a chance if you have something.
I'd love to see with the documentary format. I'd love to see like a history of Super Mario. That'd be one of my favorite things because it's like that he's what kind of saved the video game industry, revitalized it, and he's kind of video games mascot. So I'd love to just see just a documentary about Mario, the history of Mario, where it's going. He's kind of like the Simpsons of video games or the Mickey Mouse, right? So he's always been around. He's never going anywhere. I think that'd be super cool.
That would be cool. And that, that actually is a great segue for what I do want to sort of talk about, which is like, so the thing with video games, last soapbox of the day, I promise. So the thing with video games is like everybody, people make movies and TV shows based on these like things like Mortal Kombat or Hitman or Assassin's Creed or whatever. And, I think everybody needs to think outside the box a little. It's like video games are so creative a lot of times. And then you get into like making a movie or a TV show and it gets so uncreative all of a sudden. They really just phone it in hard where it's just like, even things like The Last of Us HBO show, it's like they're just making The Last of Us game into a show like this, like season 1 is just game 1.
Yeah.
It's not very inventive, it's like do something different, within the Last of Us universe or something like, think outside the box a little bit. And, I don't think we get enough like interesting stuff out of movies and TVs that are based off video game properties. And like what you just said would be fascinating, like a documentary about Mario or even just Shigeru Miyamoto in general would be fantastic. Like give me like a, basically give me Young Rock, but for Shigeru Miyamoto.
Young Rock.
Have you seen that terrible show?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, so silly. You know what I mean. Like, give me like 3,
Why are you
different
watching
age.
that?
That's all Jerry. I don't know. I stopped watching it after like 3 or 4 episodes. It's a bad show. It's very. I like the casting though. I really like the casting, but
nice.
But besides that, like, give me like the life story of Shigeru Miyamoto. That'd be fascinating. Or
yeah, for sure.
The one I wanted to sort of talk about before we run out of time here is I would love to see like an 8-part series like on HBO or something about the history of Tetris. And a lot of people,
a story that not a lot of people think about.
Yeah, they really don't. And obviously a lot of people know Tetris. People that aren't even gamers know Tetris because like everybody played Tetris.
Yep.
And I mean, it was like so huge in the late 80s, early 90s. And even today, is still a huge popular game that a lot of people love. But the actual story behind Tetris is one that I feel like has not really been told in a proper manner. And I would love like an 8-part, series basically documenting all of that. Give me something sort of like, I'm trying to think of like a good example of a show.
Well, would you want it to be like a documentary show or like a live action, like a retelling of how it was created?
Yeah, like a retelling.
Yeah, because I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's so many wild characters in this story because basically, and this is the story in a very teeny tiny nutshell. I mean, it's a huge story, but essentially, this guy in the Soviet Union created Tetris, and I mean, basically, it was so popular that it sort of broke through the Iron Curtain. and people throughout Europe were like, picking up on this game, this computer game, like, what is this? And like everybody wanted a piece of that pie. And so you have all these people trying to get the rights to this game that was developed not only in the Soviet Union, but by a guy that was working for, the government at the time. So technically
Dicey.
It was a government made, like it was made by the Soviet Union government, technically on paper. And, because there were like all these weird obstacles to try and like get the rights to this game. And like certain people thought they had the rights, but they actually didn't. There was just weird mistranslations between, the Soviets and these people trying to get the rights to it. I mean, everybody was on board. You have Nintendo in this story. You have Atari in this story. There's a huge lawsuit between them. There's, some like Microsoft and all these like smaller developers within Europe and the United States and Japan, all trying to get a piece of the Tetris pie. There's like, people making Tetris without the rights to Tetris. I mean, Atari didn't have the rights to Tetris. It made like 300,000 copies for home consoles.
It's nuts.
And then it's a crazy story with like the final, what sort of happens at the end of the day is like Nintendo eventually gets the rights to like home console and handheld and release, Tetris on NES and Game Boy being like this, astronomical hit worldwide. But like, it was a weird time in history for a game to come out of the Soviet Union,
Yeah. Well, but it also like that catapulted the handheld market because, and I remember a quote from the article you sent me about like the history of it, where it was someone at Nintendo said like, well, we don't need Tetris, I have Mario. And the guy that he was speaking to was like, you have Mario and you can sell that to boys, but if you have Tetris, you can sell that to everybody. Like, and he's talking about the Game Boy and the game, of course, obviously, but like that made the Game Boy, and he's right. Like the Game Boy then became a thing that wasn't just for kids. Like you had like business people like on their way to work playing that, like on a train or like buses and stuff. Like everybody had a Game Boy. My grandma had a Game Boy with Tetris, and he was right. Like, you have Tetris so that you can sell that handheld to everybody. And that's kind of like, it's not the birth of the handheld market, but like an explosion for it. Because like the Game Boy was huge. Like it was, and I remember seeing the Game Boy in stores, and like everybody I knew had one, and like the amount of different Game Boys you could then buy after the original it was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I think just a series kind of documenting like these business people getting mixed into like politics, because it's like, you have literally, you had people within the Soviet Union that thought like, these Europeans were basically stealing games for them. Like, people had to go to the Soviet Union to try and get rights, and like probably were on the verge of being sent to a gulag.
Yeah,
it's a crazy, wild story that like, if you're listening to this show and you like this kind of stuff, as of right now, I highly recommend everybody go watch. There's a YouTube documentary made by this YouTube channel called Gaming Historian. It's honestly, it's as far as like a YouTube documentary, just like I think self-funded through like Patreon and stuff. It's called The Story of Tetris, and I think it's about 60 minutes, and it's honestly fantastic. It'll kind of tell you like the entire history of Tetris. It's like a wild ride. You almost need one of those like what's it called? Like a crime show. You have like the different strings,
the thread.
Like, that's basically like the entire story of Tetris. It's crazy. Like, who has the rights to like the computer version and then the handheld version, and it's crazy. So that's what I would love to see. Like, give me more shows like that. That kind of
I would love like a 45-minute drama like 8 episodes or something, like a mini series, and it just shows you like the birth and eventual sale of Tetris, like becoming just a worldwide thing. That's really cool subject matter a lot of people don't know about, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would love that too. So I wanted to do some You Nintendo Don't Know Jack, but we're out of time.
Next time, baby.
You gotta work, baby. So let's get out of here. But I think this is like an interesting show, just kind of talking about like the different TV shows and movies and stuff, and how they connect with gaming. Obviously there's companies like Nintendo's trying to figure out some stuff with like a Mario movie. Sony's obviously in it deep with like their own sort of production company, and obviously they want to do things with God of War. They're doing something with Last of Us and Uncharted, and they're just going to keep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And Ghost of Tsushima. They're doing like a
movie. That's right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on in the movie and TV world.
Yeah, I think there's a Fallout show in the works as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of you could start going into like the Halos and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I hope we get to a point where we get some more like real meaty, interesting, fascinating tales like that. Maybe it's not a 1-to-1 correlation with a video game, but more like the story of, or like a story within that universe, and stuff. It's like I just want people to be more creative with what they do in the entertainment industry when it comes to the video games we love. But yeah, so that is our show. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, this week. Hav, where can we find you?
On Instagram at loverboy_Hav.
And I am at ZachMatzGanis. That is ZACKMATZGANIS. Woo! And of course, you can find Multiplayered at Go Multiplayered over on Instagram, where I think we've been posting some good stuff over there. Actually, I really want to post some things on my RE4 demo disc, because we didn't even get into like the RE4 like number 2 demo. I don't know if you even played it.
Oh man, I don't think so.
But yeah, that's all right. It'll be a 3rd demo. But I do want to post that, so look out for that little post. And of course, you can find us over on Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayered, where if you enjoy us talking about video games and have some pillow talk, you can throw us $1 or $2 a month. It just helps keep the lights on, pay for things like our podcast services and whatnot. And of course, we would love you for it. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. Remember, you can find us every Wednesday on whatever platform you want to watch us on.
Yeah.
So we will see you and talk to you next week. And of course, remember,
we love you, and you should love you too, babies.
Oh, multiplayer.
We love you.
Talk.
Oh yeah.
Peace. We here at Multiplayer would like to give a huge special thank you to Kevin Hopkins, William Euchre, and the rest of our amazing Patreon community. If you'd like to support our podcast and get a shout out at the end of each show, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayer. See you next time, players. We love ya!